Well, hello to my YouTube friends out there. I'm back, and for those of you that are new, for those of you that are new, feel free to hit that subscription button, that notification button if you like. Um, I'm ready. I'm ready to tell you guys my testimony. Um, okay. First of all, I'd like you guys to sit back for a little bit. I'm gonna try to shorten it, but then it's going to be long, if that makes sense. But I'm going to give you guys the facts, and then where I'm going to start, and then where I am. But bear in there with me, and just listen to me. You don't have to believe me, but I'm here to give you guys my testimony, and I'm going to give you a little background on me a little bit, my husband. Not in a personal way that way, but just where we come from and my children and how I raise my boys. I only have two sons, and I don't know where to start. It's so deep that I don't know where to start, but I know what I need to tell you guys. So sit back, listen to me, and it's up to you if you want to believe me, but I'm here to tell you guys the truth. So help me God, it's the truth. So let me start by saying that I have two sons. They're 7 years apart, and they're both my boys. We raised them the best to our ability. My oldest son, he has four sons. I have four of the grandsons. One, he's 15. Tim, his name is Tim too. And I have Jordan. He's 12. He'll be 13 this year. And then I have a set of twins, and they're 6. They'll be 7. So I have 5 grandsons, and I have Caden. That's James' little boy. Now, let me get, and I'm not going to go into a personal how my son died and all that kind of stuff, because I don't want to talk about that. But the fact of the matter is, my baby's not here anymore. And when he died, it was how it happened and how it went into the transition when he left. So let me get started by saying that my son died 5 days before he was about to be married and expecting his first son. He was 30 years old when he passed. James had a lot of troubles in his life when he was in high school. And so he moved from California to Nebraska. And he lived there James lived there for like 9 years maybe, off and on. And then he spent some time in prison for 5 years. That was the longest he ever went to jail, with 5 years. And he had always been into some trouble. My oldest son never gave us a problem, but James was always into things. And so me and my husband, would always go visit James in Nebraska. And I've been there like 5 times, and I was working, and I would take vacation time off to see my son and all that stuff. So he was very religious. I mean, he believed in God. He had chaplains come to visit with him on a one-to-one. A lot of the inmates and a lot of the people were there, loved my son in and out of the system. And he was blessed not to have, more time that they gave him. So when he did come home, and he was granted a visitation from us to go visit him, and I did that for a week when I had to take my vacation. And it was wonderful because I hadn't seen my son in like about 2 years, something like that. But we kept in contact every day. Now, with my youngest son, James, we were really, really close. That was my baby. And so he confided a lot in me because I'm mama. And then he go to daddy. Everybody know how that goes. And so he came home in the year 2018. I'm gonna have my tissues. So he came home, and he was so happy to be home, and we had a homecoming party for him, and all his cousins on my husband's side, they all came, and James loved red, and we decorated, and Jen decorated and everything. It was beautiful, and he had a nice cake, and we just had a really good time, and family was there and all that, and we set it up in the garage. We had a tent where people can come and eat, and it was just, and the music was out there in the garage. It was just unbelievable. So he had that, and then he was home for my retirement, and he helped celebrate my retirement. He didn't believe I was going to do it. He would always tease me about my retirement. So if you guys seen that shirt I was wearing, that's the shirt that James bought me the day that he proposed to Jen. And he bought it. We drove. Me and Jen's parents drove to Sacramento. He surprised Jen to propose to her, and he had a T-shirt made. Jen, will you marry me? It was the cutest thing ever, and she didn't expect it because her girlfriend was having something, and then they had threw that in for James, and for him to come in and propose to Jen. And so when we got there, me and Jen's parents, we had to wait around because we couldn't go in because it was supposed to be a surprise. It was supposed to be a surprise. So James met me at the car. He left the hall where he was, and he came to the car, and he gave me that shirt. I'm retired. It says, I'm retired, don't bother me. Don't wait, I'm retired. Damn, don't bother me, or something like that. I'm so excited about it because my baby gave me that shirt. Okay. And I said, James, you didn't have to do that. And he said, Mom, I want you to have this. So we sat outside, me and him, and we was talking, and they had a clown there. So before James asked to marry Jen, he just broke out crying on the microphone. And his brother couldn't show up. And so he was kind of upset about that his brother couldn't come, but he went on with it, and he was crying. I said, Lord have mercy, my baby crying. So he had his shirt, and he turned his back, and he unbuttoned his shirt, and when he opened it up, it says, Jen, will you marry me? Oh my God, it was the most emotional thing ever. So he did that, and me and James sat outside. My husband was looking for us because we had disappeared. Me and James, we were out there with one of the clowns out there and stuff. And Jane was asking the clown all kind of questions and all this kind of stuff. Jane was very inquisitive of asking questions about a lot of things. And he looked at me. He said, Mom, I appreciate all what you have done for me, you and Dad. And he put his hand on my leg. And I said, baby, it's okay. It's okay. That's what Mama's here for. You know what I'm saying? To be here to support you. So, make a long story short, so I was sitting here, right here in this spot. And James, he was home for his homecoming. He was here for his wedding proposal. He was here for his baby reveal. He was here for the baby shower. All this stuff for catered. Everything was happening all in 1 year, and me retiring, all in 2018. All this stuff happened. My baby died November the 2nd. And I was sitting here, and I was on my computer, and there was like a shield holding me back, like I couldn't function, like I couldn't do anything. It was the weirdest feeling that I've ever felt in my life. And so Jen called and asked me, had I seen James? And I told her no, he didn't come home last night. And she was like, well, we're supposed to go and sign for our marriage license. I'm like, oh my God, okay. So she said, I'm coming out that way, and I'm going to see if I can find him. I said, okay, Jen. I didn't know what she wanted to find him or what. So what I did, I went in my makeup room and I sat at my desk, and I all of a sudden I couldn't do nothing. Like I couldn't put my hair together. I couldn't do nothing, and I didn't know what was happening to me. I really didn't know, but I knew it was something wrong, but I just didn't know. God was revealing something to me then. And so I got in my car and something was wrong with my computer. So I said, I'm going to take my computer to the shop and then I'm going to go see my mom. And that was on my way going. All of a sudden I get a call from Jen. She was crying and I'm like, oh my God. And I love her. So she was crying so much and I'm like, oh my God. She said, can you meet me at this Motel 6? And I'm like, okay. And I'm like saying to myself, so I start getting questions in my mind. I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm driving and she's crying hysterically. So I turned around, drove where she wanted me to meet her, and she called me again. She called me like 3 times, crying really, really bad. And I'm like, oh my God, what could it be? And then I get there and there was nobody in the parking lot. And I get out of the car and I'm calling Jen and James. And nobody answered. And I'm like, oh my God. And so Jen comes out of the office there. She was pregnant with Caden. And she leaned down in front of me on her knees. And she said, James has died. And she was crying. And she kept going, why? And I didn't believe her. I really didn't believe her. So then I went in the office and I started talking to the people in the office and they couldn't give me no information. They couldn't say anything. So I ran out of the office. They say there was a coroner's office had been there and I'm like, oh my God. And so I called the coroner's office. And the coroner's office told me they had to take a body out of there, but they couldn't give me my name of my son, no nothing. So I said, Jen, you sit down, because she was hysterical. I said, you sit down, and I said, where's his car? And then I went to the back parking lot, and his car looked like it had been people throwing stuff all around his car, and I'm like, and I couldn't believe it. Like I was looking in the car, and I'm going, what? His car was a mess, and I'm like, what is going on here? And so I get up to the front. And all I remember is I was hysterical, crying, and then Jen's parents came and took her away. They took her to the hospital because they thought she was going to lose the baby. She was so close to having the baby, about 2 months away. And I'm like, oh my God, really? I'm like, and I just cried. I broke down so bad. I yelled and screamed. And then all of a sudden my husband came. I don't know how he got there. I can't remember. And then my neighbor, Christian, took him where we were. And we had to talk to the police officials, and I had to call my son and all that stuff. So that part right there when he died. Okay. Now, getting involved with the funeral arrangements, doing obituaries, setting up the funeral. He had his service where I go to church here. It was a beautiful, beautiful homegoing. People couldn't believe my baby had died. Neighbors all up in here were coming. My house was so full of people. I was so exhausted and so tired. People were bringing food on my husband's side. It was so much food here in my house. It was enough food for a week or more. There was so much food and people calling. The phone was ringing and ringing. It was just so much going on. So anyway, the day of the service, the church even filmed it. They got it on a DVD. My husband won't let me look at it. I'm not ready to look at it. But the day of the service, my mother came too. I made sure my mother got there. It was so unbearable. It was so unbearable. I remember the pain. It was so painful. And my mother was sitting next to me in her wheelchair, and my husband was sitting next to me, and my son was sitting next to him, and he spoke, and all of James' co-workers, that when he worked at the Stockton Arena, and he had 2 jobs, matter of fact, and he lived here with me. He was about to move out and be married. So anyway, when I walked in, and when I start crying, because I'm going to definitely cry doing this video, I just wanted to find the right time to tell you guys, and this is it. So when I walked to his casket, after they did the service and everything went well, it was so unbearable as a mother to lose your child. It's like part of you is missing. And I walked up there, and the funeral director gave me a red rose, beautiful, and he wanted me to place it in this casket, and I really couldn't really do it. But before that, let me back up. I was blind. I couldn't see. God took my vision, and I was scared. And I remember telling my husband, "Honey, I'm blind. I can't see." And the saints of the church were praying for me and praying for me. And I kept asking God. I kept saying, "Lord, please help me," because it was hurting so bad. So one of she's a pastor, Sister Geneva, she had gave it to me. I didn't even know what it was. I've always seen women in the church carry a cloth, a prayer cloth. And this is mine. And it was given to me. And I held on to this for dear life, for strength. That prayer cloth is magic from God. So, anyway. And so, I'm sorry guys, but I'm going to be crying. But I'm going to get this testimony to you guys so you guys will know. Because I've been talking about it. So, we had the service, and I said that I wanted to go in there with him in his casket. And I don't remember saying it, but it was brought to my attention. And when I get to that part, I'll let you guys know about that part, because I did say it. And my neighbor said she heard me say it. I was so tore up, you know. I was so tore up. And then the church did a beautiful, beautiful repast for my son and all the sisters of the church. The pastor, you know, made sure everybody ate. It was just all the saints of the church came and served everybody. They had James' big picture in there, and it was something. And Jen was standing there, pregnant, crying, and people hugging her, and it was just so sad. And then a couple of my co-workers came down from the Bay Area, and they drove. Terry couldn't let everybody come to the funeral, but a few people that I used to work with, they were able to show up. And some people that were there, I can't remember who was at the service. I can't remember. But I do remember me saying I wanted to go in that casket because I wanted to go with my son. And so, after James died, he went to heaven. And I'm going to tell you how that happened. How I was able to know. Jen and her mom came here after James died, you know, after the funeral was over with and everything. And Jen lived in Utah years ago. And I didn't know this. And I think James knew that she had lived in Utah, but, you know, he never talked about it. And so I never knew she lived. Didn't she tell me she lived? Yeah, she told me she lived there, but she didn't tell me she had a roommate and, you know, all this kind of stuff, and knew these people and all this kind of thing. So I was like, So she told me that there's a lady, her name is Mary. She's a medium, pretty much. You might as well say. Um she's not a psychic medium, but people who have passed, they have came to her. Like the spirit of them have came to her and actually talked to her. And this is real. I'm telling you guys. So Jen sat here and told me what James left a message with her. And she told me what James said. He said, tell my mom and dad I'm sorry. He said, and I'm going to go into, I'm not, every little detail, but he also said to Mary, he said, I've seen my little boy already. He looks just like me. And he said, tell Jen to forgive me. And that was like, wow. I said, Jen, can I have her phone number so I can call Mary? So I called her. And I started talking to her, and I asked her questions. I said, Mary, I said, my name is Lynette. I'm James' mom, and she lives way in another state. Now, mind you, I never met her. She never met me. We never met each other. She's never met my son either. And so she told me that what happened, that she came out from her bedroom and went into the bathroom. There was this black guy standing right there in her hallway. She said he had on a white shirt with black pants, and he had his hair in braids. James wore his hair in braids. He also told her he had been suffering depression. And she said he had such a respectful, he was very respectful, because we raised our sons to be respectful. We raise them that way because it comes from the foundation when you're raising your children. You know what I'm saying? So we always grounded our children with this. So she knew the spirit from my son. And then she said that James was looking at her. I'm like, oh my God. And so she could see the vision of him. And then she was telling me about it. And then she went back, and then she paused, and then she goes, and you said that you wanted to go in there with him. And I'm like, how would she know that? She wasn't at the funeral. She lives in a whole nother state. How would she know that I said that? And I'm like, oh my God. Wow. So me and Mary are friends on Facebook. It was when James died, it was in November, and then in December I was so depressed, and so my coworkers drove down here and took me out for my birthday. They wanted to cheer me up the next following month when James first passed away. And I couldn't really get into it like that. Like I was trying, but I really couldn't really enjoy myself like I really wanted to because I'm grieving. Then I started going to support groups. And that was getting real sad for me. See, I worked in psychiatry, so now I know where my patients, how can I explain it? When they're going through depression, they either lost someone. Now I know what that feels like. It's no joke. So, especially when you lose a child. See, every grieving for a loved one is different. Like when my dad died in 1994, I wasn't like this. I missed my daddy. I knew he had passed. I grieved all it, but not like this. Not like this. It's different when you lose a child that you birthed. And so, anyway, let me get back to all this with Mary. Rita. So, me and my husband, we're still going through. We miss our child, and our lives will never be the same. He was a good dude. He was such a beautiful person, and he wanted to do right, but he never had the chance to do it. And the year he died was the best time that he ever had in his life, for that year that he passed away. So anyway, I had dreams back to back. I had dreams when he was 4 years old. He was in the bathtub. And I said, James, come out of that bathtub. You messing your coat up, man. And when I woke up, I felt like I needed to go buy him a new jacket. Like it was so real. Like, I mean, so real. And then I dreamed there was a black car in front of my house. And it was moving up and down like shocks on it. And it was smoke in the car. And they were laughing. It was evil. Because I was like, who are you? I mean, I was yelling and screaming and hollering. And all of a sudden, James' car disappears. It was in front of the house and everything just whoop. And I woke up crying like crazy. Couldn't understand this dream. I was like, why am I dreaming this? Now, this one right here, this is the kicker right here that the Lord let me see. Oh my God, this is the one. This is my last dream I had. It was these people. I can't. All I know, they were eating and celebrating. And I can't remember what they looked like. And then my husband was in the wall. And he was sleeping. And I kept trying to get his attention that James was going down this hallway right here. He was walking down this hallway. And then it was this man that was right here coming out of the wall, and he had some type of, I don't know, machine. He was saying something about James had a journey. And I was like, and then I was yelling, like, oh my God. I screamed so much like I thought my throat was going to come out. I was screaming so loud to get his attention. I was like, James! And I'm trying to get my husband's attention to see James is walking down the hallway. And it was like he was in a trance, like a room where you can't hear. I can't think of the room right now because I'm so excited that the Lord revealed where my baby went. So he was 17 years old. He was young in his age. And I remember what he had on. He had on a brown shirt and he had on some shorts that I had bought him when he was in the 11th or 12th grade. I'll never forget when I bought him that outfit. And he was walking. He was walking. And he looked, because his room is to the left and mine is to the right. And I'm yelling, and I'm yelling, I'm yelling. He couldn't hear me. And he looked to the right. And he looked to the left, and there was this light that was beaming, that was coming down the hallway. And he walked right into the light. That's what he did. And I woke up. And every night, I tried to dream about him. I tried to make myself dream about my son so I could see him. Nope, no more dreams. No more dreams. He's at peace now. So then, let me tell you, I'm not over with this testimony. So then, with Mary, she's diabetic like me. She lives way in another state. James came back like 2 months ago. His spirit came back and talked to her again. And he said to her, tell my mom don't cry for me. Her boy is happy. That's what he said. And she said he had on a white shirt, those black pants, and his hair was in braids. She said that he was bouncing up and down. She said, I wish I could describe it to you, Lynette, like as if he was dancing for me. And she said he was doing that. And then he was worried about Mary. And he told Mary, he said, Mary, heaven is beautiful. Don't worry, Mary, heaven is beautiful. That's what he said. That's what he said. Now, there is a heaven. Now, I was holding on to my prayer cloth. When my baby died, I kept this by my bed for strength. And this is my prayer cloth. Help me. And it's continuing to give me strength when I get like I get. God opens up doors. This is such a beautiful thing. I've been wanting to tell Sister Geneva. I just haven't had the time to tell her about my vision that the Lord let me see where my son went. Now, I know that he's there, but the part that really gets me the most is that I know he was my child, is missing, and then I miss him. I miss him. It's the missing part. But for the most part, I know where he is. He told me he was happy. That's what he said. Now, I don't know if you guys believe in mediums, but I do. I believe in them. You can't believe every medium. You know what I'm saying? Because, people have, fake mediums and they want to make money, readers and all that. But this is this guy named John Edwards. He's pretty, popular. And he's also did readings for Oprah and a lot of other people. And I've seen shows on TV and they're true. Even with Mary, that's what I want to come back and tell you guys. With Mary, is that her mother passed, and she was able to click a picture, a vision, it was a picture, but it's like a cloud, not a cloud. It's a picture, but she could see her mother, and she sent it to me. This was back in December. And I shared it with my coworkers, and they said, "Oh, Nettie, we can see it." They call me Nettie. We can see it. Yeah, she was able to see the vision of her mom when her mother came back. I'm like, wow. So when people pass, it's not like he's dead. He's just went into another, what they call it, transitioning. And he just crossed over. He crossed over and he went to God. And I believe that's what happened with Kobe and his daughter. They're all up in heaven. And I don't know if you guys watch YouTube, because I watch a lot of it because I'm retired, so I'm always on my computer and I'm always looking up something. And I've been doing my research since all this stuff been happening to me. And I watch this guy named Sid Roth. And he's got some people on his show. I'm telling you, they've been there. They've been to the gates of heaven, and they don't know each other, sorry, but they all give the same description of heaven. God has a place for us when we leave here, but nobody wants to talk about death because it's the unknown, because you don't know. So anyway, that's my testimony. My son James, and he also left a little boy. He left Caden here. Caden is 1 year old. 1 year old, 1 month old. 1 month. He's 1 year. He just turned 1 year. January 1st. He was born on New Year's Day of 2018. Ain't that something? Wow, it's just, I just can't believe it. And this is my baby's first child. My son never had a whole lot of girlfriends, and he wasn't around here in California that much. He like I said, he spent most of his time in Nebraska. And 2018 was his best year to be home, and I enjoyed him so much. And this all happened to me the year I retired. Yeah. I was just talking to my girlfriend, and she says, "Oh, Nettie, you've been through so much." Yeah, I have. And I do. I love the Lord. I love the Lord. And I made James' room my prayer room. And I go in there and I talk to my son as if he's here. And I'm going to do that because I miss him so much. Jesus. But my God let me see my son go. And then I couldn't, let me go back into this and then I'm going to end the video. The people in the kitchen, I'm like, what are you doing? Those were angels. They were celebrating for James. Because they celebrate when you get ready to go to heaven. God knows this is the truth. God knows it is. I'm telling you, it's the truth. Oh God, this is such an emotional video for me. I just wanted to find the right time to tell you guys. Wow. So I love you guys out there. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening to me. Leave your comments down below. You know I love my comments. And I will see you guys. Oh, hopefully, got my nose running. Hopefully, it will be a little bit more uplifting when I come back on. Because we don't know from day to day we're going to be here. It's all in God's hands. So anyway, everyone have a blessed Saturday. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.